Hey friend! If you're thinking about buying a new car or getting a rental apartment or even buying a house, your credit score is going to be one of the primary factors that determines how much interest you're going to pay on that item or how much you're going to have to pay for your deposit if you're renting. If your credit score is really good, you're going to have a really good rate. If your credit score is really bad, you're not going to have the best rate. What goes into making a really great credit score? That's what we're going to be talking about today in today's video. We're also going to be diving into my credit score, and I'll be going through all the factors that make up what my credit is right now. I think you'll be interested in that. And I'm going to tell you about the free tool that I use to check my credit score every single day. And it's probably something that you might already have heard about. Welcome to my channel. This is by Kristen, Elaine. And just a disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor. I really love finance though. I've been in the accounting and auditing field for a really long time. I've been financially independent for about 20 years now. And I love all things finance. So I hope you really enjoy this video. Let's get into it. This is what a credit score is. It's a range between 300 and 850. And this graph comes directly from Experian. It's one of the 3 main credit bureaus, and I'll go into those a little bit later. But you can see there's a range of scores here. I like to think of it as a grade. Excellent or an exceptional credit score is an A+, very good is an A, good is a B, fair is split between C and D, and poor is an F. But if you know what your grade is, you know whether or not you have improvements to make or not. What does a credit report do? Well, a credit report basically assesses for your lender when you're going in to get a loan or you're going in to apply for a credit card. It tells the lender how risky are you financially as a borrower. Are you someone who's going to be paying your debts on time? Are you always going to be punctual? They want to assess whether or not you are a good borrower or if you're higher risk. So if they see a lot of collections on your report, if they see a lot of late payments, that all factors into your credit score. And what they do is they'll say, well, we're going to give this person a really good rate, a really good interest rate because they have really great credit. But if you're someone who doesn't have really good credit, you're probably paying more for that same loan because you've been determined to be a higher risk borrower. Don't put a label on yourself. You can always change. It just gives your lender an idea what kind of borrower you are and what kind of interest rate they should give you based on your risk level. If you're thinking about shopping around for something that you want to purchase and you have to get a loan for, or you want to apply for credit, this is going to be excellent. You're going to want to watch this all the way through, but let's dive into what are the 6 factors that go into a credit score, but what are the top 3 that you really need to focus on? And I'm going to go through all 6.
All right, we are going to switch things up a little bit, and I'm going to take you inside my Credit Karma. That is the app that I use. So I'm in that right now. If you don't use this already, I highly recommend it. This is not sponsored. And I use this to keep track of my credit report and the things that are posting to my credit report and tracking my credit score. So we're going to go in right now, and you can see that my score is 775 on both the TransUnion and Equifax. So we talked about the 3 credit bureaus. TransUnion is one of them, Equifax is the second one, and Experian is the third one. So there's 3 credit bureaus. So this, you can see it says 775 and it says that it's excellent. But if you look at the FICO scoring from Experian, it actually says that I'm in the very good range, which either or I'm really happy about. I don't normally see excellent credit scores unless you're older and you don't necessarily need to use your credit, but you have a lot of credit to use. That's when I usually see the excellent credit scores. Let's go into TransUnion. I'm just going to click on it. It checks it every single day. So let's scroll down and look at all the credit factors. There's 6 credit factors: payment history, credit card use, derogatory marks, credit age, total accounts, and hard inquiries. And we're going to start with the low impact first and then get to the more important things towards the end. 2 inquiries are currently on my credit report. And what that means is when a lender goes to check your credit, they're going to hard pull your credit report. There is a soft pull where it doesn't actually show up as a hard inquiry, but this is actually telling me I have hard credit inquiries on my report, which is fine because it's a low rating. So let me click on this information here, and it says hard inquiries ratings needs work if you have 5 or more, fair is between 3 and 4, good is between 1 and 2, and excellent is 0. So what this means is that you don't really want to have a lot of credit inquiries on your reports, which shows that you're trying to get too much credit too quickly. They like to see this spaced out over time. And these fall off of your account at about 2 years is when things will fall off your account. So my husband and I, when we were trying to buy our house and when we were refinancing our house, that's when we had the most credit inquiries on our report. And typically that's okay. If you're going to do a lot of shopping around for a really good score, really good interest rate, and shop with different lenders based on what they can provide for you. If you have home shopping that you're doing, normally that's fine. You can, as long as you have it within a certain amount of time, you don't want to go out further than that because then it will look kind of bad. So all of those will fall off very quickly. They will impact your credit score, but it's not a huge hit. So just keep that in mind. If you are enjoying this content so far, please subscribe. I would love to have you as part of the community. Like this video so more people can see it. It really helps out my channel. All right, total accounts. This also doesn't really impact your credit that much, and I won't show my personal information on here. I'll just show this first screen. And I have 12 open accounts and 14 closed accounts, and this has everything from mortgages and auto loans and credit cards and just everything you can think of is on here. I have an excellent rating and a low impact, which is really funny because you would think, wow, 26 accounts, it sounds like a lot. How is that good? But let me go into this information and show you. Needs work is 0 to 10. Fair is 11 to 20. Excellent is 21 plus. So what does this even mean? Credit companies and lenders want to see you have a bunch of different types of credit. They want to see you have an auto loan and a personal loan and a credit card. They want to see you have different kinds of accounts to see how you manage them. How do you manage debt? How are you being responsibly financially responsible with the debt that you take on and the credit that you're using. Over the past 20 years, I've had 14 accounts that I've closed and I still have 12 open accounts. And I'll get into closing accounts a little bit later. I won't talk about it right now. Just showing lenders what different types of credit you have, what types of loans you have, what types of credit cards you've had that you've paid in a responsible manner. That's what this one is. This is the third factor. It's medium impact. So this one does affect your credit score, but it's something that takes a long time to build. And I'll show you what I mean. So we're going to go into my credit age and it says 7 years and 1 month. And this is the part where I say you don't necessarily have to close your accounts. I actually did strategically, and I'll talk about that in a second, but this will show you what the average age is of your accounts. What lenders like to see is that you're not opening accounts every single month and you only have 1 month of actual average age of credit. They want to see you perform over a long period of time. So let's look at the information here. So my rating is good. My impact is medium. Credit age rating. So it says needs work 0 to 4 years. Fair is 5 to 6 years. Good is 7 to 8 years. And excellent is 9 plus years. So this one I typically don't worry too much about, but if you have, like you can see here, my oldest account is 19 years and 3 months. My newest account is 2 months. So I did actually open a line of credit for emergencies, but my average age for the whole duration from 19 years and 3 months on, I have an average age of about 7 years, which is pretty good. I would say don't close your accounts if you don't know how it's going to impact your credit score. Typically, you wouldn't close your credit card accounts. Loans are going to close all by themselves, so there's nothing you can do about that. They will close. But if you have credit cards and you have lines of credit, keep those open unless you don't use it anymore and don't want to use it anymore, and there's a fee on it and you don't want to pay the fee anymore, and it's not going to affect the age of your accounts that much. So I actually went through and closed out some of my cards that I don't use anymore. Typically, I wouldn't have closed those out, but I just have a lot of accounts, and those are ones I just didn't want to keep track of anymore. It will also benefit you to leave them open in one of the high impact factors. That's all I want to say about credit age is that it just takes a long time to build. It's a medium impact. It's going to take time. Let's go into the derogatory marks because that is one of the high impact areas, and there's 3 high impact areas. This is the first one that I'll go into. So you can see I have 0 derogatory marks, and what that means is that I don't have anything in collections. I don't have any public records. I don't have any liens liens. I don't have any late payments or penalties or anything like that on my credit. I have an excellent rating. It is high impact. And let's see what goes into this here. It really doesn't take that many for this to hit your credit report in a negative way. So needs work is 2 or more, fair is 1, and excellent is 0. And derogatory marks are things like if you're not paying your credit cards on time and you're paying your loans late. Once you hit 30 days, it gets reported to your credit report. It does not take very much for negative things to impact your credit score. Credit score is very, very sensitive to negative things. So this is one of those things. If you have collections, a lot of people will say, don't pay them off, and I can't tell you what to do or not to do. If you are just about at the tail end of your collections and it's about to fall off of your credit report, then maybe it's a good idea to just wait. For me personally, what I found out going through the home buying process with my husband is he had some collections that popped up later on. We had paid off most of them. Because we were getting an FHA loan, they wanted us to actually prove that we had paid off all the collections. One had shown up and we had to actually pay that off and show proof of payment before we were able to actually get the loan. In some cases, you have to pay them off, and then sometimes it makes sense just to wait. So I'm not going to tell you what's best for you. You know what's best for you.
Here's the thing about paying off collections. You want to get some kind of proof, a letter, an email, something that says that you've paid off that balance in full. If you are paying it off in full, ask the collector to remove that collection from your credit report. That's going to be your negotiation, is that, yes, I will pay this off in full, but you have to remove this from my credit report. Because it's in collections, even if you pay it off, they can still report it on your credit report. If they don't remove it, you can go into the credit bureaus and dispute it yourself, and I'll go over that in a minute. If you are negotiating, so a lot of people will say, oh, you can negotiate and pay less. I have not had that experience of being able to pay less. We have asked several times from my previous relationships to my marriage, they will not accept less. You can try. But here's the thing is it can still show up on your credit report and it's just going to say negotiated for a lower price or paid less than what was due, and it's still going to show up on your credit report. So just keep that in mind, is that if you think you're getting a bargain, you may not. You don't have to go through a credit rebuilding company. You can do this completely yourself. I've done this multiple times. Just keep track of all of the correspondence. Keep all of your records, because that's going to be important for yourself in case you ever need to dispute it. Something else I want to say too is don't feel bad if you didn't have any financial education or you had to claim bankruptcy, but life happens and things happen. And I personally know of family situations where there was no other option, like a spouse had passed away and there was just situations beyond people's control, and you have to claim bankruptcy in order to start fresh and start your life again. So don't feel bad if that's your situation and there was nothing you could do and you just needed to get control of your life. And so sometimes you're going to have to take that hit and claim bankruptcy and just have it stay on your credit report until it's finally off. But in the meantime, you can keep building your credit and showing that you're credit worthy. Be as financially responsible as you possibly can, but this is not to beat up anybody who had to go through a really difficult situation and had to file for bankruptcy. So my heart goes out to you. I know it's a really difficult situation to be in. I can only sympathize, and hopefully this video helps so that you can actually get yourself back on track.
Okay, so the last thing I'll say about derogatory marks is that if you find yourself in a situation where you're getting into financial trouble or you're having a hard time and you have outstanding loans and you're starting to become late and you're starting to run into problems, don't be afraid to contact your financial institution. Give them a call, talk to the collections department, let them know you're having a hard time. Most of the time, they will work with you. As long as you're communicating with them, that's all they need. And they will keep working with you until they can't work with you anymore, okay? So they want to do everything possible to keep you in good standing and keep your credit healthy and keep the loan paying so that it's not late. So work with your financial institution as long as you can. Credit card usage. So this is where it pays off to keep your cards open. The higher the limit that you have, the better this factor is going to look. just depending on how much debt you've taken on. So I'm using about 12% of my limit, and I have a 6-figure limit. I don't have that much outstanding, and I have a plan to pay it off. It's already in my budget. Let's go over the credit usage ratings. So needs work is anything greater than 50%. Fair is 30 to 49%. Good is 10 to 29%. And excellent is 0 to 9%. Generally, in this area, you want to have your credit utilization under 30%. You don't want to be going over 30%. For example, if you have $1,000 credit card and you only have one, if you have $300 on that card, you're already at 30% of your limit. So you would have to make sure that you don't go over that or that'll ding your credit report. This is one of those areas that you have to be extremely careful with to make sure that you're financially responsible and you're not just looking at it as free money, because it is not free money. You will pay, and you will pay dearly for using credit cards. My husband and I have gone through in and out of getting into debt and getting out of debt. We typically stay out of debt unless we have to get into it for travel or business reasons or whatever it might be. We have strategies that we use to get into and out of debt. So if you keep your cards open over time, and those limits increase, that actually helps this area. And you call your credit card company and you ask for an increase. This is something that can actually help this area. And you say, I've gotten a raise, or I've had this card for over a year. I want to increase my limit. And what they'll do is they'll do a hard pull on your credit report, which is okay because we've learned that that's temporary. And if they increase that limit to $5,000, if you have that $300 balance still on there, now your credit utilization has gone from 30% down to 6%. And it's keeping your credit score really, really good. If you know the things that you can do to boost your credit without even having to really do anything, it's almost like a game. So that's a really easy way that I maintain my credit utilization to be really low, is that every 6 months to a year, I'll call my credit card companies or I'll go online and I'll ask for an increase, and they'll just increase it by a little bit. That will help boost your credit score. So again, you have to be very, very careful not to run up the balances just because you have this line of credit. If you don't have a plan to pay it off, you could get yourself into financial trouble. I don't want you to get into trouble. That's the whole point of my YouTube channel. I want to help women understand their finances and take control over their finances. You do have to use them every now and then, or they can close your line of credit, and that can hurt your credit. If you do want to maintain and keep those cards open, you do have to use them. So go through your cards every 6 months to a year and pick out the ones that you have not purchased something on, and go put something like groceries or gas or just something small on. Let it hit your statement and then pay off the statement when it's due, and that will keep the card active so that they don't close your credit line. So let's go into the very last high impact, and it's actually the first one on this list, and it's payment history. This one has a high impact on your credit report and your credit score, and it does not take many late payments at all for this area to be impacted. So you can see I have 100% payment history, on-time payment. I don't have any late payments. That's something I've always kind of been mindful of, is paying everything on time. It's always been important to me. If we look at the information, on-time payment history ratings, needs work is less than 97%, fair is 98%, good is 99%, excellent is 100%. So it really does not take much. If you have one late payment over 100 months, if you have one late payment, you're already at 99%, which is good. But you can see like one late payment affects this area tremendously. This is something that lenders look really closely at, and it's something that your credit score is really impacted by pretty significantly. Things that I do if I know there's a bill coming up, what I'll do is I'll put reminders on my phone, or I'll put reminders on a calendar. I'll have some way to remind myself when that payment is due. Something that I also do to kind of help me not have a lot of reminders is that I have a budget. Every single paycheck, I split out what needs to get paid before the due date. So even if it's due on, say, the 14th of the month and I get paid on the 1st, I'll pay that bill on the 1st, and I just know that it's paid. And then the other payments for the 15th through the end of the month, I'll pay on my second paycheck. That's just what I do. It helps me streamline everything and keep everything really simple. So I don't have to remember what I need to pay or what I don't need to pay unless I'm purposely delaying something for a specific reason. Then I put a reminder on my phone so that I don't forget to pay within the grace period. Those are all the high impact things.
The other thing that you can do is go through your credit report, and I'll show you what a credit report looks like. It's pretty simple. It has the name of your creditor and the terms and the balances that are outstanding. And you can go through this information and look for things that you might think don't belong to you or things that you think are wrong. And you can go through each one of these things and dispute every single one of them. Now, there's two ways you can dispute these things. You can go to each individual credit bureau, so TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, and you can dispute on you have to go to every single one and dispute it on every single one. And some of the credit reports will be a little bit different. So if you find a discrepancy on one of them, go through each of them and check and dispute anything that's incorrect. The other way you can do this is going to annualcreditreport.com. Now, I tried this and it was really simple and really easy. I had to create a username and log in, and then I checked all 3 of my credit reports and went through each one. And the key is you can actually dispute it right through annualcreditreport.com and then print your credit report. It's not going to save it for you, so you're going to want to print each one of them and then go on to the next one when you're ready. And it was really simple and really easy. Didn't take a lot of time. Does not show your credit score. But if you're going through and you're removing derogatory remarks or disputing derogatory remarks, that's going to hugely benefit you if the creditor has made a mistake or they can't prove that that debt is yours or they can't prove the late payments or whatever it is. So you can do this all by yourself. You don't need a fancy credit repairing company to do this for you. You can do this all by yourself. I've done this multiple times. It's really, really easy. And I think right now at annualcreditreport.com, you can check your credit report weekly. On the credit bureaus, I believe it's just once per year, and it takes a little bit of time. Could take up to 30 to 45 days, sometimes 60 days, and they'll look into it. And if that debt is yours, they will just say the dispute is not valid. If the debt is not yours, then they will remove it. If you enjoyed this video, you're going to want to check out this video next. I really enjoyed being here with you, and I will see you again very soon. If you enjoyed this video, you're going to want to check out this video next. I really enjoyed being here with you, and I will see you again very soon.